Welcome on the Richard Nassimi live show. Thank you for joining us again. We're going to jump right away on a couple of topics that are very hot in the moment. I'm going to jump right away on this iconic star that just passed away that, we all grew up. Whoever was born in the 70s, you cannot love her. Tina Turner. She was a legend and, all of her past life, and they made a great movie actually of her. I think she was an amazing artist. She changed the music, I think for good. I mean, Megan, I don't think you know about it, but let me introduce you to Megan, my co-host.
It's a little bit before my time, but,
I'm sure you listen to her music.
I've listened to her. I've heard of her. Yeah.
Very good. So listen, we're going to jump on many politics. We jump on many topics. We're going to start from politics, real estate. We have a lot to cover. And we have here today one of the top brokers in commercial real estate in New York City, although New York City is suffering a lot. This person here actually also, he's very, very attached to New York City politics. I maybe can see him running for mayor. I don't want to say a news, but I'll introduce you to Ross Mezzo. Thank you, Ross, for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. You just said it. I'm running for mayor.
You're running for mayor?
Apparently.
Okay.
Apparently.
Sure. Well, the fact is that I didn't say that. I said maybe. I put a maybe on it. But anyway, let me introduce you to Ross Mezzo. Ross, tell us a little bit about you, when you came to New York City, or maybe you were born here.
Born in Brooklyn, New York. Been in commercial real estate on the brokerage side since 2014. Mm-hmm. Transacted on close to $2 billion worth of deals. Some being 1450 Broadway, 346 Madison Avenue, 309 Fifth Avenue, and as of late, 45 East 53rd, which is at the corner of 53rd and Park Avenue.
That's a massive building. Very good job. I mean, I'm very, very honored to have you here next to me.
Thank you.
So I can only learn from you.
And by the way, congratulations on the new platform here at Douglas Elliman.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That's very kind words.
And Megan?
Thank you. We appreciate that. It's a big deal for us. We're moving on up.
We're all impressed. So, so let me ask you a question now. Since you...
Political or real estate?
Doesn't matter. I'm gonna ask you the question, but let's start a little bit of a mix. Because politics and real estate, especially in New York City, go together, right?
Yeah.
So, how do you see right now New York City as is? How do you see it? What are your predictions? What are your forecasts for the future of New York City? What are your thoughts?
I think that New York City is in big trouble.
Why is that?
Well,
I mean, that we know. Everybody says the same thing. But can you be more specific?
Sure. So what I tell people to do is on a weekly, daily basis, go put a neighborhood in your mouth. Walk around and see who's walking around the streets, see who's shopping, see the people, whether it's in the subway, whether you're on a bus, whether you're on the Upper East Side, Lower East Side, wherever you are, just the look and feel of New York City has completely changed in the last 30 years. I mean, it's just completely changed to somewhere where I don't think that we can come back that quickly. And if you look at who's leading us right now in Mayor Adams, very, very tough job, but he ran for it, right? So he has to be accountable for what he's doing.
Correct. I agree with that on you.
So
but we also agree that he inherited a very tough job right now from his predecessor also. Let's not
correct.
forget about
Yep. Yeah. But if you look past him, we don't have anyone in the future to lead us or take us out of this. That there's no one on the forefront that we can say, hey, that's going to be our next leader.
All right, let me ask you. Now I'll give you all the powers. Now you have the power as a mayor. You're the mayor.
Yeah, but I say you're going to be the next mayor.
Exactly. Thank you, Mayor. So let's say you agree with me, Mayor. Let's give him all the power. Now I'm showing you all the powers, right? What would you do in 1 minute?
Tough question.
Tough question.
Of course. What I would do is one thing I would do is on a daily basis, I'd get up in the morning with my team, and I'd ride around a neighborhood, look at all the potholes, graffiti, garbage. I would grit it out, and if that's not cleaned up within the week, I'd go back to the DOT, and I'd actually put those guys on leave. That's one thing I do. Okay. Because the city is disgusting.
But you're in Florida. That's not that easy. You're in New York State, right?
Well, we have people that do. You look at the payroll.
Okay.
The budget. Yeah. It's through the roof.
Okay.
So I would.
So you would come there like the big Saladin.
He wants to clean the city. Clean the city up.
If that's the only thing they can do is just clean the city. If you go into the subway, there's people urinating. in the subway.
Yeah, but you are right. It's a security issue, and it's like a concerning fact, but it's not getting resolved. It's slowly getting resolved, but that will take a long time. But where do you put, for example, the homeless? What are you gonna do with the homeless?
It's simple. Take all the land that the city owns and build affordable housing. Why is it always on the developer? Why is it always on the private money to go build affordable housing? The city owns tons of land. They own buildings.
Yeah, but also because then they get very advantageous financing and development conditions.
So let the city finance the development of affordable housing.
So you would say put all the toll on top of the developer, on top of the city.
Right. They own tons of real estate that they lease out to make money. Convert that to housing.
That can be a very good point. I kind of agree with you on that part there. Where
You
the
don't
city
agree
can
on cleaning the city up?
No, I do agree with cleaning the city out. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but you know,
It's not complicated.
But to be honest, like actually, New York City saw an improvement, if you can say that. It got improved from the last mayor, right? It got a little bit more secure. Tourism come back. Restaurants are doing great. I mean, Megan, you.
You know, I frequent restaurants. I have never cooked in my apartment, so that's an understatement.
She usually gets delivery.
Yeah, delivery. Yep, that's my go-to. Or I'm going out.
She gets
Very
delivery.
interesting.
So I'm keeping the restaurants in business myself, but I agree. Like, especially right now, you go out and you see a lot of people lines. I mean, for certain places, but it's definitely if you go out in Soho, you're gonna see people out.
You're going to see people about, but what you guys are not realizing, there's 40% less restaurants today than there were pre-pandemic. So of course, places are going to be packed. But if you look at all the places that went out of business, and you look at all the people that are going to continue to go out of business because they can't afford to be here.
So you're saying that basically the supply and demand between restaurant and actual guest, the guest number increased not by tourists, but increased by the fact there's less restaurants.
40% less. And on top of that, you can't judge New York City by pockets and say, no, this restaurant's packed, so
Yeah.
New York City's great. Because if you look at the people sitting down, they're all rich.
So, but there's tourism got affected a lot by this. Like we don't have the usual tourism because people don't feel secure and safe in New York City still. Right?
Hello? That's what I'm telling you.
We're better than California, I think, on that point there, but we still a long way to run compared to Florida, right?
We're never going to be Florida. New York City's too left. And at the end of the day, we pay taxes to be safe and secure. And we're not safe or secure.
Top
We're
dollar
not,
taxes.
We're not
on
even
that.
clean.
Yeah.
So another thing I would do day one is the carts on 6th Avenue that sell the food. I would make it mandatory that they have power washers, and they have to power wash the sidewalks when they're done cooking at night. Because if you go on 6th Avenue, it's become disgusting.
Yeah, but that will create a little sanitation problem also.
You
The
agree?
liquid, the chemicals. Office buildings are empty right now. We have like a 50-60% capacity overall. And the mainly one are like the Class A building. I don't think the other B class building gonna have a good time in filling in because those other buildings and new developments are, you know, way more modern and attract more big tenants. So how that gonna work out for the next 5 years in New York City in sense of office spaces?
Well, it's eliminated the B and C class, and I think it's a flight to quality. And in addition to that, it's
Yeah,
shrinking.
but B and C makes about 80% of the inventory.
That's going to be eliminated.
By how?
There's going to be zero tenants going into those spaces.
And what's gonna be building obsolete? Like you know the movie with Kurt Russell, 1997, Escape from New York. Like no one gonna be here, only in like mega towers, like from SL Green.
No, you're right. Everyone's already escaped from New York.
Okay.
Just like what you said.
Yes.
People aren't coming to work.
Yes.
They're
Okay.
all in Miami.
They're all wherever they are. They're not here. So if you go to these B and C buildings, and by the way, ask yourself this: go to those areas, the B and C, from 42nd to 34th, 6th Avenue to 9th Avenue. Ask yourself if you feel comfortable walking over there. Homeless, drugs, everything. So why would you even want to go to work?
Yeah.
I'd stay in my
Good point.
apartment in Brooklyn or stay in my apartment in the city, and I'd work from there.
So you're saying that basically this homework leaving situation for a long time now?
Yeah,
in
it's
New
here
York
to
City?
stay.
Yeah, but with that, they're trying to bring up the subway fare. Now it's going to be, they want it to be $2.90. They want to raise the Long Island Railroad, the Metro
Yeah, you
North,
get massacred when you have to
and the
travel with
tolls.
transportation.
So they want everybody to come back to the office, but then they want to charge you more to come back to the office.
Well,
Uh-huh.
wait a minute. Perfect segue. How are they going to, because there's no transfer tax because people aren't buying buildings anymore, because New York City, the crime is up, because New York City just doesn't work anymore, because in New York City you say, I don't need to be here anymore to make money. Wait. So
But-
who are they going to tax? They're going to tax the people that voted for them, the poor and middle class. Guess what? Subway, tolls, okay? So again, the people that you voted for that you think are going to help you out are taxing you and costing you more money on a daily basis.
But the restaurants are seeing like a glooming up vibe, like they're all booked. Good luck getting a reservation if they know who you are. I mean, lucky,
I have no problem with that.
I was about to say that, so you interrupted me. But restaurants right now, they're like booked. For example, the Cowboys are doing great. I mean, the Avra, Labo guys, Nobu, or Chef Nobu,
Cipriani.
Jean-Georges Cipriani, with Newcastle Cipriani. They're all booked, and I mean, for a normal person like you, not me, but like you, have a problem reserving. Like you have to call me to make a reservation for you.
Correct.
So, if that part segment is doing great, then you're gonna need more, right? Like you're gonna need more Megan, because Megan, you're out like what, 8 days a week?
Yeah.
Something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Megan is out every night at dinner. So my question is, then it's gonna spill, because then other restaurants have to open, because the sustainability is gonna spill over. Like if the Cipriani cannot handle everyone, then it's gonna be another new restaurant very close to it, and then one other, the domino effect, the snowball effect.
Well, let me go back to office buildings, then I'll come back to that. So
I thought we closed that topic, but
no, we didn't.
Very pressing on you. After $2 billion transaction, please do.
Because office is
He sticked on him the $2 billion transaction. I love it.
no, because here's
Johnny,
the
you heard that, right? $2 billion transaction. I mean, he's sweating here behind. He's like counting the commission and the show on the calculator. How much is that? Do I think it's an average
off
commission of like I think let's call it 1.5%. You said $2 billion. He makes $30 million. This guy. What? Guys, he's single. Whoever is available here,
All right, let's go back.
Okay, so let's go back to office bill. But no, take out the calculator. Can you do me the calculation, please? Make $2 billion. Let's say 1.75%. I'm giving you a bonus of 0.25.
How much?
Bonus.
1.75%.
No, that's too much.
That's too much.
Yeah.
Ooh. So that equates to what?
I shut down my phone.
Like his phone shut down. He didn't open up his show. His phone went off. All right.
Let's keep going. So we're going to talk
Sorry.
about restaurants?
Nice suit. So okay.
You want to talk about restaurants?
No, let's finish the office because it's very pressing on you.
I think office is here to stay, and I just think that
But you just said that that the B and C classes are gone, but now you're saying they're to stay.
B and C is...
So revert it to Megan. Megan maybe can listen to you.
I like looking at you. B and C is definitely eliminated. So again, going back to restaurants and going back to office, they're pockets, right? So there's no need for 20 and 30,000 square foot floor plates.
I agree on that with you.
Right.
That
So-
offices like style Dewey LeBeouf that went bankrupt and they had maybe 150,000 square feet of office space. I agree with you. It did redimension itself, but again, when you say B and C are out, you're talking about like 70-80% of the inventory in New York City. So what those buildings gonna do? You can't tell me they're gonna turn old in multifamily when there's an exodus of Manhattan people moving to Long Island, moving to Queens, New Jersey, Connecticut, moving to Florida, moving to Texas, or moving out of New York. What are you gonna do to those buildings?
There's going to be a big problem. There's going to be vacancy. They're going to have to lower the taxes on those
Even worse
things.
than now?
Way worse than now. It hasn't even hit yet. What the federal government, what the Fed has done with interest rates,
Yeah.
it's been dragging, right? So if I made a move if I had a lunch today, it doesn't affect my weight until maybe 2 or 3 days later, right? Same thing with what the Fed has done, right? They've raised the rates 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times.
Correct.
Okay, the anchor
We're
didn't,
at what? At 7% right now.
right. The anchor didn't drop yet, so wait till this time next year, and then we'll have the same interview.
That's great.
You'll
And then
follow
let's
up, yeah.
add another worst news that we got out that just make it more fun. New York City is sinking due to its million-plus building, study says. So we're adding another problem on top of the problem. So in this
But wait,
case-
go to a restaurant because it needs more restaurants. So wait, go segue into your restaurant question, right?
So
Wait,
listen.
no, segue into your restaurant question.
No, but let me finish. So
Yeah.
on top of all the problems we have right now, New York City will be apparently
Sinking.
sinking. So
It's okay because
Miami's
Miami will be
already-
underwater.
I was gonna say,
So
that's
Miami's
the
under the
big
water.
fight to see who's-
North
New York
Carolina.
City- what about France, Johnny? What do you think about France? Your wife is French. Like, what do you think about France?
I would just like to just swim to the top of the Eiffel Tower.
Okay, very good. So we put that in, but now it's sinking. So, I mean, How do we fix that? Like, if you can fix that, if it's sinking really in New York City, right? So you're gonna hit Battery Park, right? The first one
Not
going
only
down.
is it sinking, it's the sea levels that are rising, and it's happening at a rapid pace. So.
So what's
that's
gonna
the
happen to
problem.
all those?
I'm not an engineer.
Just wanted to know your opinion.
I don't know.
mean,
Everyone
bronze,
needs to lose
you know,
weight.
it's all. How are you gonna lose weight? You're gonna
Get
Well,
rid
we
of
demolish
lost
get
a
rid
bunch
of
of
some of
people
the
in
B
the-
and C class offices. There you go.
Yeah.
Just
Just remove them, the
Yeah,
B and
just
C
demolish
classes.
them.
And the landlord that own those buildings is gonna be very happy about it, right? So they can save the city. They can be patriotic toward New York City and let demolish our buildings. So
Yeah,
the,
eminent domain.
I'm in a domain.
all right, okay, all right. Just well, very interesting. So, and this, I think, I don't know why. I think I saw you live yesterday. There was the auction of the Flatiron building.
He said he thought he saw
Yeah,
him
I
there.
think I saw you shaking hand of Gural for buying that building at $160 million, right? What's your take on that, actually?
I mean, he was the obvious buyer for it, but it's very pricey.
I think so too.
Very
It's
pricey.
like-
Because
I
it's
think
they
if
want to
that-
put $100 million into renovations on top of that.
Yeah,
That's insane.
it's a very strange floor. It's iconic, but it's a very strange floor plate. But he was the obvious buyer at the end of the day for it. But I think I saw actually there's a lawsuit now with that as well.
Really?
I mean, there's a lawsuit on top of the lawsuit. The first bidder
Yeah.
came there
No, not yeah, something else.
without the
happened to it,
wallet
yeah.
and just he said, "I buy $190 billion building." And said,
Garlic.
Yeah, garlic.
Yeah.
They said, "I'll buy it." You know, I forgot my wallet home.
Yeah.
If someone wants to give the money, I'm welcome. I mean, I love that.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, very interesting. And now he's upset about it. But then there was, I think, Richard Dolan, right? Someone was arguing with Richard Dolan about the actual auction, how it ended up in the news. So it was very interesting to see that situation. And at $160 million,
Very pricey.
Yeah.
If that
and they're
asset,
saying like they want to do half office, half residential, all residential, even as a condo. I mean,
Still crazy.
still, I
Yeah.
think that price point will be a little bit high for even let's be romantic. It's a great building. It's landmark and it's very New York City.
Mhm.
But I don't think buyers gonna come there and just plummet prices only because of that reason, right?
no, I mean at that number you got to be north of 3,000 a foot.
Easy.
Yeah,
It's a very tough market.
Very
for the
rich.
segment there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder why you weren't there beating yourself with your pool of clients.
I didn't get a paddle.
I got it. Very good. Well, I'm sure we're not gonna leave it out next time. Very
No,
good.
I'll be there next time.
Yeah.
There'll be a lot of
Yeah.
opportunity coming up.
Very
Next
good.
month, yeah.
Very good. So then, I mean, so we just got the situation. So let me ask you a question. Why you're not moving to Florida then?
Florida's not for me.
What don't
Why
you
not?
like about it? Yeah.
Too hot.
Megan,
Why, you
Megan,
moved?
you're
Born
Boring.
/ raised in
But
Florida.
why are you here?
Because I wanted to change.
Oh,
So
would you
I'm
go
doing.
back?
I do the reverse. Would I move back? I say never, but I love New York. I like the change of weather, the difference, for opportunities, lots of restaurants. Compared to Miami, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in Miami, but a lot of it is just a New York restaurant that they're moving to Miami
Mhm.
to capture, obviously, the New York audience that they have there now,
Mhm.
especially after COVID. But would you move?
No.
Never.
There's one.
You wouldn't
thi-
consider it?
No, not.
Why?
It's too small. I'm born and bred in New York. I love the culture. I love the
I
opportunity here. And there's
do feel that Florida, Miami is expanding great, but he has a big problem that I don't know how he's gonna solve it. Is transportation. Not for you that you go with your beautiful suit and your
His
checks
driver,
confirmation.
yeah.
Driver, helicopter.
Maybach.
His
Maybach,
Maybach.
yes, Maybach, yes.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the people that make an average salary of like, let's say, $40,000 to $60,000. That they cannot, you have to get an Acura, a car, right?
Tesla.
Well,
Tesla.
they have the Metro Mover that's actually
Yeah, but
free.
transportation is a big problem in
and it's only
Miami.
good
That's
if
what
you're
I'm
in
trying to see.
downtown, yeah.
How and with the influx of these people is gentrifying everything and it's getting very, very busy and congested, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the only issue I have with Florida, because if that would be taken care of, like a subway system that's impossible to do, right?
Mhm.
Basically, I think Florida would.
Well, they want
Take
to
over.
expand the Metro Mover from downtown all the way to Miami Beach. It would take like few years, obviously, to get it done, and they'd have to cut off half MacArthur Causeway to do that. So can you imagine, like, that traffic on a day-to-day is already terrible, but imagine them cutting out half MacArthur Causeway in order to do that for the next few years. It would
Yeah, well, that
a
would be
mess.
very, very expensive.
Very expensive, and it's going to be a mess. And
It
the
will be a
traffic, I
mess.
mean, it's
for
already
the
awful.
next 5-6 years.
Yeah.
I mean, New York City.
But maybe in
and
the
Miami
grand
would
scheme of
be
things,
very, very jammed. And,
Yeah. But maybe a great option for the city to be able to have something where you can get from downtown to the beach without having to be in a car. So
That
they're
can be
wo-
something.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
step in the right direction, but it's definitely not going to solve any of those problems.
Like an airplane.
There you
So-
go. I got to get a helicopter to get to and from.
Yeah, you can call Blades,
Yeah.
the chain smokers. So look, before I jump to one of other topics, which is politics that you love, like you're running for mayor, you're gonna love this one. But so give me your last 2 cents.
2 cents?
Yeah, 2 cents because I don't want to talk about your commission anymore. So tell me then your perspective of New York City, our New York City. What's gonna be?
To be determined.
Okay. So when you're running for mayor, right, and your vote is gonna be like, what do you think, like TBD?
No, I think that New York has. You have a
You're gonna vote for him on TBD, Meg?
I mean,
Magwood.
I think he's got a better platform than the current.
That's
so
bias, whatever. That's bias. You're lucky. I asked the wrong person.
No, listen. New York has.
Sure. What about you? Would you vote for him
Yes.
if he was running for mayor and you say, okay, I'm behind you. TBD, to be determined. What?
Well, I just met you, but you seem, very well put together. You were born, raised here, and you,
Wow.
acknowledge
He
like.
shows very well.
Yeah.
He's very convincing, huh?
Well, I think so. You acknowledge like what you see on the streets. I like the idea of like mapping out a grid system. I think it's great. Yeah.
Wow, you just already got.
I like
so you
it.
already got someone that's voting for you. You got 2 votes.
I know Johnny.
so
I don't know if
far.
he's gonna vote for him.
Yeah.
Johnny's gonna vote for me.
Nah,
You
I'm
got
not
3
sure.
votes.
I'll vote for you. I just want to sleep at night.
And be safe. Yeah.
By the way, New York City has all key major factors to it that you can't click and play anywhere else. Zero. So we have
Such
a great.
as?
We have.
Such as?
I'll give you one, and I coined the phrase, bumping ability.
And what does that mean?
You like that?
For the let's say for the human people, for our spectator, that they're not.
You
I
can
love
walk.
it.
Yeah, like me.
I can. Other like London, you can't move around like you can in New York City. Miami, you got to drive. LA, you have to drive. New York, I can walk outside this building today. I can bump into a guy that I've known for 30 years from Brooklyn, or I can bump into Leon Black, or Josh Harris, or Elliot Spitzer. So the only place in New York City of bumping ability. You can't do it anywhere else.
That's
And
a
in
very
our
interesting term,
business,
possibility.
in our
I like
business, you can make millions and millions of dollars with that.
Hmm.
Because you never have that one-on-one in the street that you can confront somebody, talk to them, and have that relationship that you never have anywhere else.
So that's special only for New York City.
Only for New York City. I coined it bumping ability.
I like that. Very good. You should use a sticker for your next election.
There you go.
When
Yeah.
For my
part
first
of your
election.
platform,
For your
yeah.
when you're going to run
First
for mayor.
election, yeah,
And when
first election.
when you want to run for potentially when you want to run for it.
Soon.
Okay, that's another TBD. Okay,
Yeah.
another TBD determined. Okay,
Soon.
so now we had the very, I think, not breaking news, but we were a little bit aware of it in politics. I mean, Ron DeSantis is like running for presidency into 2024. That's actually an interesting situation, I think. And I mean, I would like to take everyone's thoughts about it and what they think about Ron DeSantis. What's gonna happen to Florida if he actually gonna get elected, let's say, or run for it. What are your thoughts in sense of also him running as a president? How he's gonna change, let's say, the platform of real estate? Because I think that America is running on a few bedrocks, which is one, it's obviously Wall Street, the stock. Then you have real estate, right? That's the main important factors in America, right? So, what is your take on Ron DeSantis?
Megan,
My take on Ron?
I would like to hear yours. Former Floridian.
I think he was great. I lived in Florida during COVID, and I mean, to be honest, I couldn't imagine being in New York for something like that, where you guys couldn't go out. You guys couldn't go out to eat for what, like almost a year.
Yeah.
In Florida, we were like the only problem we had was there was like a few months where they closed everything like 10, 11 o'clock, and for Florida, I mean, in Miami in particular, that's super early. Like everybody goes to dinner at 10 o'clock in Miami, so like that kind of sucked. But I mean, I would take that versus not being able to go out to eat at all. So what he did for COVID is why obviously he got all the traction that he has with his platform because of what he did during COVID and how he handled it. But the concerning part is if he does win and become president, what will happen to Florida? Who's
You
going to
think-
come in behind him? You know?
You think a Democrat would win?
I feel that we're
don't know.
getting very divided in both ways. I mean,
In here, internally?
eternally we're born like this. I mean, you mean never gonna get along, but even
I think we're one.
When I see you for coffee, we always argue. So
When I sit with coffee, I actually hate it.
I know that, but that's why I bring you for coffee so
Yes.
we can talk about politics. But I feel that the country, got so divided, like, and in this regardless of what affiliation you have, this is like the beauty of this country is that you can be free of choosing, your own, politics, your own politician. But I feel that we are getting so much extreme from both sides, from Republican and Democrat, right? So I won't say I'm a little romantic. I miss the center a little bit on both sides where, there was more rationality to everything. And now I feel like everything became so opposite, like on one side, on the other side, and it became so hard for anyone even. Like we
There's
used
no
to
middle
be,
ground whatsoever. It's
No.
either you're extreme or you're extreme over here.
I miss those times where like you could sit down and say, okay, I don't agree with this Republican nominee, or like, but he has some good valid points, right? Now, oh, God forbid, if you say that, someone gonna kill you because there's no anymore. I agree with him, but I disagree with him. It's all about like, it seems like more like it became like a cult. Everything like you're not anymore into it because you believe into the actual politics of the person. You just believe like this is the cult, and we are following it, and that's the way it is. And if you're not in our cult, you're against us.
Yeah, 100%.
It became like this, and
Yeah.
it's also Republican, it's Democrat. Like, I also mean, there's, for example, my favorite presidents, and now I'm gonna tell you openly. First one was FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Like, I think he beat, Adolf Hitler and Germany and Japan by himself, right? Because Europe was gone and there was only left Great Britain, but Great Britain was protecting itself,
Right.
so they had no protection. So I think FDR did a great job. Not sure post Second World War he was a great president, and then another one is Ronald Reagan. So they're both two, I would say, not normal, but less radical presidents in both sides, right? Why can't we have those ones anymore? Like, why can't we,
Because everyone gets offended by everything nowadays. It's not just the politics. I think it's just how we are as a society too.
But then it translates in everything. Like, even when we talk about real estate, right? Now you
But
can't.
real estate has now become a political decision.
Exactly.
So if you invest in commercial real estate in New York City,
Correct.
it's not, does this neighborhood work? Does this building work?
Exactly.
It's politically, does this make sense? Because they're going to raise taxes. They're going to tell me I can't do this. They're going to say I can't rent my apartment anymore. They're going to say I can't make money anymore.
But it's hurting the people. Like,
It's hurting. The
it's-
city doesn't make transfer tax.
Exactly. But it's not only that, but, by this means of doing stuff like this, you're just hurting the people. And, you're not moving forward. You're not progressing. You're just having.
But they don't care. They
Exactly.
don't care.
So how do we stop that? That's my other question.
You got to get up and do something. You got to vote. You got to get involved.
Yeah, but okay, but
We could sit here all day and have a podcast and say what's wrong, but if we don't do anything, it's knowledge with no action. So it's a waste of time.
But how you get back again, America united together again? You can have your own.
Oh, I think
beliefs.
America's lost. I think America. I mean, it's clear. You just said you can't say the way you feel, or someone's gonna blackball
offended by
you or
it,
say,
yeah.
"Hey, I'm not going to work with Richard and his team anymore because
Get
his
canceled.
his vision is a Republican or Democrat or middle ground. So we're not going to buy from him anymore."
So we're living in a very tough era.
Yeah, most people say, "I don't want to be bothered. I just want to do what I have to do and make my money and leave." But going back to that, if you own a commercial building in New York City, you pay, depending on where it is, you pay hundreds and thousands and millions of dollars in taxes.
Yeah, you're sinking a lot of money.
But what do you get for it? You have your homeless person sitting outside. The sidewalk is cracked. They're not fixing it. So what
By
do
the
you
way,
get for it?
I'm with, and I don't blame the homeless. Homeless needs help, and it's the job of the New York City to help the homeless. I think he deserves help, mental, physical, shelter.
Food.
We owe it to them because they're part of
I
New York
I don't really want to go political, but we went super political today.
City. We are.
I'd rather go real estate. But do you think I'm going to ask you a question?
Sure.
Do you think it was smart for the Fed to raise interest rates after 2 years of a pandemic that people lost everything? And when we talk, we speak New York, Miami. What about the flyover states? The people that make 60 grand a year and their mortgage is $3,000 a year. Okay? Now their mortgage went
It's
from
not only that,
3%
the
to
credit
9%.
card, the borrowing power, it's became
The average
very tough.
person, okay?
Correct.
So now they're the only thing they have, they don't watch CNBC, they don't have an investment account, right? They have their home. The only thing is that was their cash cow. Now rates went from 3 to 9%. What are they going to do? Who's going to win? Blackstone, KKR. They're going to buy all these homes. The big guy always is going to win. They're going to buy all those homes, and that person's going to end up renting. So do you think it was smart? I'll go back to that. You think it was smart for the Fed to say, after 2 years of people being zombies and sitting in their house and losing everything. Let's raise rates.
No, I agree with you. I'm not in favor of raising rates at
Right.
all, because you're talking only about mortgages, but I'm talking about common life when you go and buy anything like inflation and like milk and eggs.
Right. On
and
top
gas.
of that, let's raise rates.
Yeah, I mean, on top of that, then you raise rates also, people gonna become bankrupt. I agree with you. I'm not a pro raising the interest. There might be some tampering. They might have to do it, something, but this is getting a little bit out of hand. I agree on that with you.
Yeah, but
on
this
one
is-
thing, I'm on the same page with you on that.
But to sit on TV and watch CNBC through that lens, that's not the average person. When these guys, when Jamie Dimon gets up and says it's going to be a soft landing, he's not talking about the average person. He's talking about a millionaire or someone that makes $350,000 a year.
Which is like what, 3% of America?
1%. Talk about get a TV show with the average person. Say, do you think this is going to be a soft landing? They're going to say, no, I feel like I'm re-entering the Earth from outer space. That's how bumpy it's going to be.
Yeah, I agree.
So if I get it correctly, I mean,
I'm for the people.
Yeah, you sound like.
I'm for the average person, but I think New York
Napoleon
City.
Bonaparte.
I think New York City's in for a tough time. I don't think
Worse than now.
It's got to get worse before it gets better. Do I think we can come back 100%? How we come back, I'm unclear. I'm unclear, because people are telling me New York City's great because the weather changed. Don't let the weather fool you, right? Same Avra, same San Ambrose, same Casa Cipriani.
That's exactly
It's-
your spots, by the way. I know that. Like,
I don't go there. I
don't?
cook at home. Did I bring you cookies today?
Yeah, and they were
I baked
delicious.
cookies at home today.
that's very sweet. Which we'll
Yeah, you-
organize, let enjoy afterward. Johnny, I want you to taste them and tell me if they taste like crap.
But
anyway,
I think we can come back, and I think people really need to get involved. But there's no place like New York City. Opportunity to make money,
Yeah.
do whatever you want.
I agree.
Culturally,
and that I agree with you. New York City is always the dream. I mean, it's not gonna ever fade. It's resilient. I think people have, unfortunately, and some way fortunately, short memory,
Yeah.
because we forgot about the tragic 9/11. We forgot about thanking our fire departments that gave their life. The police department gave their life. All the law enforcement that gave their life running into those buildings. We completely forgot. I think
yeah.
very easily, actually, that's a very sad part. It was too easy to forget, and now we are like I think we're in a very confused era. Like I think like
Yeah.
right now, everything is like mushed around, even real estate. Because if you figure out real estate here in New York City, I feel like New York City economically is still strong in one sense, right? And everybody wants New York City, but how is it suffering and lingering? It's beyond me. I think it's always connected to politics. I think it's more a political situation rather than the actual economy. Because how is it that Florida is thriving and New York State, which is, I guess, not the capital in sense of America, but of the world?
Well, the economics don't work, even if and I'm with investors every day. So if there's a building on Madison Avenue that was worth $30 million pre-pandemic,
Yeah.
and it's worth 10 now, they can't even tell me why at $10 million it makes sense, because the economics aren't there anymore. The person that had the discretionary money to spend $1,500 a day on a shoe, a bag, whatever it was, is gone. Those people aren't here anymore. So even at a discount of 40, 50%, the asset still doesn't make sense, right? So the economics of New York.
Well,
City
don't
change.
forget also the financing completely doesn't make
Fine,
sense.
you can't even buy a building. It's negative leverage. What that's called is bankruptcy, right? You can't buy a building at a 5 cap and borrow at a 6.5.
So you're saying that Gural basically it's screwed on the building on Flatiron?
No, he'll get financing, but he was a logical buyer. I mean, he was a logical buyer for it. But look how many deals are in foreclosure right now, or are going to go to foreclosure. Or look how many RXR let go of 3 or 4 buildings, gave them back to the bank.
Well,
Here's the keys. I don't want it.
Also, Vornado is selling a lot of his office building. I guess not the B classes, but close to it. Like he's trying to sell them out of his portfolio.
There's buildings that I'm working on that when I talk to investors, you know what they tell me?
Yeah.
You couldn't give me that building for free. I wouldn't take it because of the expenses. It always goes back to the city, right? The city keeps raising taxes, property tax. You can't keep doing that.
Yeah,
There's
but
no money to
okay,
make.
but if you don't collect taxes, and then we're gonna finish it here. But if you don't collect,
I don't want to
taxes,
finish it.
if you don't collect taxes, right? Okay, if you increase the taxes the way you're saying, the city's increasing taxes, And people, obviously, you know that many landlords, they don't pay it until they refinance it. They feel that they accumulate them. Like, you know, they do it, many people here. Then the city's not getting that cash influx.
But at what point is enough enough? And why do you got to keep raising property taxes? Because you can't balance a budget. Because you got to keep taking money from
So you're
us.
saying that everybody's asleep at the wheel in the,
Of course.
in the mayor's office? No one knows what's going on.
The whole city's it's a no-show job. How much does the head of the MTA make a year? I don't even know what it is. What do you make? Or he or she make $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 a year, maybe $1 million. Do they ride the subway?
No.
Or do they have their own car with a driver? Does Alvin Bragg, does he drive an electric car? Does Mayor? No, but they want us to, right? Why are they driving $100,000 SUVs or more? 4 of them.
The same discussion when we have all those famous actors, you know, talking about, like, you know, the environment, and then they meet all together with the private jets and the yachts, and then they say, you know, we're destroying the planet. That's.
But my point is, you can't keep raising taxes on real estate owners, because that's the hand that feeds you. Same thing in New York City finance. If the whole world becomes Starbucks, it doesn't fuel New York City, right? But you have to be smart what you do with your money and what you give back to these people that feed New York City. And guess what? Those people are leaving. Say, I don't want. Every time, and you've been in the business a long time, every time something happens globally, where does money run to? New York City. Do you see that now?
No, right now. It doesn't.
Okay, either do I.
There's been a very change of a shift, I think, in the global pivots. It changed more like, you know, I think Dubai saw a huge uptick because they welcome all the money from from Russia and all the other places, so they had a huge uptick. Same, I think also Turkey is having a, you know, good vibe, good ride for it. You know, I think Europe.
But you even say Miami, Tampa,
Sarasota,
all parts of Florida, saying, I don't want to invest in New York City anymore. I'm going to go to these areas. So New York City's going to lose. How do you bring the people back? By raising taxes? Like, how does New York say, hey, we're pro-business, we're pro-investment, we want you to put your money here? I'm asking you that.
We're gonna need a new mayor.
But you need you need new people.
Yeah, the new mayor gonna bring new
he's
people.
going to clean up the whole office.
Yeah, you're gonna need. You start from cleaning the office all the way up. Down
What
to
office?
The city. The mayor's office.
No, grids.
Anyway, so
This was great. I really
it
appreciate
was a
that.
pleasure. You know, in
It
conclusion,
should
it was
be
a
real estate
Yeah,
focused.
yes, I agree with you. But anyway, it was a pleasure to have Ross. Thank you for coming on the show. It was
Thank
a
you.
pleasure. You know, and always to my co-host Megan Jennings.
Thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure, and we'll see you next week.